So we actually used the Pike Fellowship as an opportunity to really look into the market to see where were the best places to start. We explored over 40 different countries, ended up picking India, because actually known infamously as the diabetes capital of the world, with over 114 million diabetics, resulting in 17 million cases such as these. And it's also a great market for regulatory and commercialization strategy. And if you actually look at the market, it's very centralized in the south of India, where Tamil Nadu, the state we're actually planning to start in, right here, has 40% rate of diabetes, pre-diabetes, and hypertension, which is the highest we've seen anywhere in the entire world. It's a very, very serious issue. And so we wanted to really dig deep into it. So we went directly to India, to the field. We interviewed over 50 caretakers and nurses, over 700 patients, and over 100 medical professionals in the country. And we even witnessed 40 surgeries of these sort of wounds in 7 different hospitals and purchased products from over 35 pharmacies and 18 of the top wholesale dealers in the country to really see what's going on. And we found several key issues with the market. First of all, treatments we take for granted here, like skin grafts or glucose control, are just prohibitively expensive for patients in India. So they have to rely on this very vicious cycle of frequent infections and amputations, which just keeps spiraling on and on. And the products themselves, such as the ones I've rated before you, are just ineffective gauzes and ointments. So this is actually a combination of products that a patient has to use every single day. So all of these products every single day for months on end. If you actually look at this picture back here, this is just one patient's product that dressing changed. So he has to do this every single day. So it's just a terrible process. And the worst thing is they don't actually fulfill those ABCs. So what's the solution? Our patent-pending invention, Phoenixate, which is able to replace all of this. So Phoenixate is a multi-layer wound site dressing applied directly onto the wound. And it's made of multiple layers, allowing it to be completely breathable throughout. And it's also able to protect the patient from external pathogens, both large, like fungal spores, mold spores, or pollen, by blocking and trapping them, as well as killing any smaller pathogens, like bacteria and viruses, in a way that actually is safe to the patient because of this interior barrier layer that we put in. And it's able to absorb exudate in a very, very efficient manner. This actually swells to 4 to 5 times its size to encompass the blood coming out of the product in such a way that it doesn't degrade the surrounding tissue and still maintains a moist healing environment. So if you look at the key novelty of what we're trying to do, it's much easier to use. It's this product versus doing all of this every single day. It also lasts longer. It's cost effective, so we're actually matched or below prices of what patients are currently paying for on the market. And most importantly, it integrates all the necessary ABCs so it actually heals and protects their wounds. And furthermore, we're even trying to be very patient friendly. We're adding a color changing indicator on this so it actually changes color so the patient knows when to throw their dressing away. Because they weren't doing it before, and infection rates were spiking before because of it. And we're just not another dressing on the market. We've actually thoroughly tested our technology against both emerging market solutions found, example, in India, or developed market solutions you find here. We've actually tested over 65 products so far in our lab. And across all the ABCs, especially the cost-effective manner, we're the only ones able to achieve them. So looking at our commercialization strategy, we're actually utilizing raw material suppliers and contract manufacturers, several of which we've already formalized partnerships with, so we can bring our product to distributors. For example, Perry's Corners, who we're working with for Tamil Nadu, the state we're from. So we can get these products to patients so they can get them after getting a doctor recommendation at hospital partner pharmacies, which again, we're partnered with some of the top hospitals in India already. So looking at the upside, a foot ulcer such as this, and I apologize for the picture, but it's the least disgusting one I can find. It actually costs about $1,200 for initial diagnosis and treatment. So this is actually this patient's wound, and he got rejected from the hospital because his wound wasn't bad enough. So that just tells you how bad the scenario is. And in most cases, this actually gets worse and worse, requiring secondary treatment of up to $20,000, which patients have to pay out of pocket because only 15% of the population has any form of health insurance. And these have a terrible mortality rate over 15%, or lower extremity amputation, such as this, over 18%. So just a terrible problem all around. And then if you look at the market potential for this, it's very, very large. In India alone, we can go to the other states which have a similar problem. We can go to other countries that have similar issues such as this. So we've actually had partnerships in Ghana, Honduras, Cuba, and other countries besides China. Or new applications, such as burn wounds, trauma wounds, or military applications, which we've already had interest expressed through the DoD. And new products entirely, such as tampons or diapers. And I actually put some numbers with this and put it into perspective. Just for the diabetic foot ulcer wound care market alone, we have $165 million market potential, which is South India. $500 million for all of India, $1 1.5 billion for similar markets which we already have connections with. And then if you add US to the mix, it's 2.6 billion, which is a smaller part of the total 6 billion just wound care for diabetic foot ulcers alone. And we've actually been able to do all of this and actually create this, our 300 iteration prototype, with all the funding that we've received from various organizations, which we're really thankful for, including the Pike Fellowship. And we've actually been recognized at various different levels, including just a couple of weeks ago. We won first place in the People's Choice Award at the ACC Inventor Prize. We've been recognized by the National Inventors Hall of Fame and the Patent Office, as the Clinton Global Initiative, and we're actually selected as the #1 biomedical device designed by undergrads or graduates, beating out teams from Harvard and Stanford by the InMEDBio competition. So actually looking at what we're planning to do in the future, our next key milestones are to prepare our R&D lab as well as our bench scale plant, which we've already started, so we can formalize our relationships with our key suppliers, determine our final prototype characteristics, and finalize our Indian product line. And as we go towards the future, we're planning for fundraising for actual clinical and commercialization. And we're actually starting also preparing for starting our Indian clinical trials with the CDSCO, essentially their version of the FDA, and finalizing initial purchase orders. To sort of show this on a better timeline, this is actually how we're thinking it'll pan out as is. So essentially we'll have to start fundraising sometime later this year, so we can fund all of this and achieve sales sometime in the Q1 or Q2 of 2020. But with the $50,000 of the Pike Fellowship, we can actually speed this up. So we can actually push back fundraising by several quarters and actually start clinical trials as early as December of this year and achieve first sales 1 or 2 quarters earlier. So, just to sort of straighten that out, we'd actually be able to finish our bench scale manufacturing plant, finish our prototyping development for the final iteration of the product, and actually start, like I said, the process for regulation. And we've been able to do this with a great core of advisors, including Dr. Mullith, Dr. Sante, Dr. Viswanathan, who happens to be the leading foot ulcer expert in all of India, as well as Alan Connor and Dr. Karthikeyan. And we also have a great host of partners who have enabled us to do all of this as well, including Yastra, which is a company that's brought 5 products with the Indian regulatory process in a very similar landscape of ours, is actually one of our strategic partners, so we can accelerate that pathway. And MV Hospital for Health, the #1 hospital in all of India for diabetes and diabetic foot care, as well as the iLab at UVA. And this is actually something I just added this morning. It's a very interesting email I got. So this island of Malta, which you may or may not have heard of, is so small it's not actually on our map. And it only has a population of 436,000. And we got an email at 3:30 in the morning, actually for a purchase request of 66,600 dressings, which we estimate would be valued about $424,000. And that was just this morning, out of the blue, one of our first purchase orders we've gotten. So this is a really cool piece of news. It really validated what we're trying to do. I'm Ashwin, and I'm actually going on this full time next week when I graduate, so others don't suffer like my grandmother.